Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're plunging into something that feels, well, a bit like digital sorcery, but promises to fundamentally change how you log into almost everything. We're talking about passkeys. Forget maybe everything you thought you knew about passwords, because this is where the online world gets truly transformative.
Yeah, it's really fascinating. What's interesting here is how passkeys move beyond the inherent vulnerabilities we've lived with online for decades. They're not just a better password, they're an entirely different approach.
Right. You know that feeling of dread when you hear about another massive data breach? So often, those incidents trace back to just one single point of failure, a shared secret, your password being compromised. Is that the core problem passkeys are really engineered to solve?
Absolutely, that's the heart of it. If we connect this to the bigger picture, passkeys introduce what's called zero-knowledge authentication. Imagine being able to prove you own a specific key without ever showing that key or even describing it to anyone. That's the essence.
Yeah.
You verify your identity without exposing your secret, which, immediately raises a crucial question for most people. How is that even technologically possible?
Yeah, that concept, proving identity without revealing the secret, it does sound almost paradoxical. How is that even technologically possible? Why does it feel like digital magic?
Well, the foundational magic, as you put it, behind passkeys is public key cryptography. Think of it like this. Imagine you have a special physical key and a unique matching lock. In the digital world, public key cryptography involves two digital keys, a public key and a private key. And every unique passkey you create has one of these exclusive public-private key pairs working behind it.
Okay, so a pair. How do they work together then? To protect my identity without sharing my secret.
Right, so let's say you have my public key. You can use that public key to scramble a message that's encrypting it. When you send that scrambled message to me, I'm the only one who can unscramble or decrypt it. Why? Because I'm the only one holding the matching private key.
Ah, okay.
And here's the crucial point. Your public key cannot be used to decrypt messages, and it absolutely cannot be used to figure out what my private key is. So I could theoretically share my public key with the entire internet. Everyone could send me encrypted messages, but only I could read them.
Gotcha. So the public key is like out there, almost like a public mailbox slot. But the private key is the actual key to open the mailbox, held only by you.
Precisely. And here's where it gets really powerful for authentication, for logging in. I can use my private key to digitally sign messages. When I send a signed message to you, you can use my public key, the one that's out in the open, to validate that the message truly came from someone who possesses my secret private key. And that is how you prove possession without revealing the secret itself. That's the core of zero-knowledge authentication for passkeys.
Wow. Okay, so this isn't just like a convenience thing. It fundamentally shifts the security paradigm. Think about it. If your secret, your private key, is never actually sent across the internet, well, then the most common and devastating attacks like phishing or massive server breaches where passwords leak, they suddenly lose their primary target, right? Your secret isn't there to be stolen in the first place. That's the real game changer.
It truly is. And for you, the user, despite all this underlying complexity, your interaction with passkeys primarily happens through four core workflows. The goal really is to make it feel simpler eventually than passwords ever did.
Okay, good. Because the cryptography is fascinating, but let's pivot to what this means for your everyday experience. With that secure foundation laid, how will users actually interact with passkeys day to day?
Well, it usually starts with what we call discovery and engagement.
Right. This is basically how you find out if a site or app even supports passkeys and, how to access that feature. It's probably worth noting, though, that there isn't really a single standard for how this is advertised or accessed yet, so the terminology and maybe the user experience might vary a bit from site to site.
Exactly. Then, once you know a site supports it, you move into the registration ceremony. This is the process where you actually set up one or more passkeys for that specific website or app you intend to use for signing in. It's like the initial setup step.
Makes sense. And once you're registered.
Then you get to the authentication ceremony. This is the familiar login process, essentially. But instead of typing a password, you use your newly registered passkey to sign in. It's designed to be much more seamless, often just, a glance at your phone or fingerprint scan, maybe a quick tap.
Okay, much easier, hopefully.
And finally, there's the deletion process. This is just how you clean things up. You remove any passkeys you no longer need or maybe don't want to use for a particular service. Gives you control over your credentials.
So discovery, registration, authentication, deletion. 4 steps. It sounds like beyond the technical wizardry, what truly sets Passkeys apart is this potential for a predictable, seamless journey. It means less friction, maybe fewer annoying security alerts, and hopefully a future where you interact with your online identity in a way that's just more intuitive and secure, almost without thinking about it.
That's the goal. And to make these workflows function so seamlessly, Passkeys rely on some pretty powerful underlying industry standards. You can think of WebAuthn as like the universal language that allows any website to securely talk to your device for authentication without passwords. It's from the W3C.
WCC, the web standards, folks. Okay.
Right. And that seamless, often biometric login experience, the fingerprint or face scan part, that's often enabled by another standard called CTAP, which comes from the FIDO Alliance. FIDO actually stands for Fast ID Online, which perfectly captures the goal. Rapid, secure online identification without passwords, designed to be as effortless as possible.
Okay, so WebAuthn and CTAP are the sort of technical rules making this work smoothly. You mentioned handoffs earlier, implying multiple distinct players are involved behind the scenes, even if it feels simple to the user. Could you help us identify the key entities that make a passkey transaction possible?
Of course. Yeah, in any passkey workflow, there are basically three key entities at play, constantly communicating. First, you have the relying party.
Okay.
That's just a technical term for the website, app, or service you're actually trying to sign into. Think of it as your destination, like Shopify.com in some examples.
Got it. Relying party. Who's next?
Second, there's the client. This is typically your web browser, maybe like Google Chrome or Firefox or Safari. It acts as the intermediary on your device, handling the web traffic, passing authentication requests back and forth between the relying party and the final entity.
Okay, relying party, client. And what's the role of that third crucial component, the authenticator? This isn't, like you said, your typical one-time passcode generator app, which, yeah, it can be a bit confusing given the name.
Indeed. No, it's different. In a passkey context, the authenticator is the specific piece of technology, could be software or hardware, that handles the core public key cryptography tasks. It's responsible for creating those public-private key pairs we talked about earlier. And crucially, it digitally signs messages with your private key to prove it's you. It's the secure vault and the signer, all in one.
Right, okay. We've covered some pretty intricate ground here, and honestly, the language around passkeys can sometimes feel like learning a new dialect. Maybe we should take a moment to untangle some of those overlapping terms, especially when we talk about these authenticators. Is your head spinning yet?
It can be a bit of a vocabulary challenge for sure. But essentially, authenticators come in a few main flavors or categories. You have software-based authenticators. These are often built directly into your operating systems. Think Windows, hello on Windows, or Keychain with Touch ID, Face ID on macOS and iOS. Or they can be part of your web browsers, like Chrome or Firefox, which have their own built-in capabilities. And importantly, many popular password managers like 1Password, Bitwarden, Dashlane, LastPass now also act as these virtual authenticators. They manage your passkeys right alongside your old passwords.
Okay, so software built into the OS, the browser, or my password manager. What else? You mentioned hardware.
Exactly. The other main category is hardware authenticators, sometimes called roaming authenticators. These are small, dedicated physical devices. You probably know them as security keys, things like Yubico's YubiKeys or Google's Titan security keys. These are physical things you plug into a USB port or tap against your phone via NFC to confirm your identity.
Right, those little keys. Okay, that helps clarify the types. We're really trying to simplify this complex space for you, the listener. Just for context, for our own deep dive into the source material that informed this discussion, the demonstration examples we looked at used Shopify.com as the relying party, Google Chrome as the client browser, Bitwarden as the software authenticator and credential manager, and macOS for the operating system. But the important thing to remember is that many other combinations say using Firefox on Windows with 1Password or YubiKey would yield a very similar, hopefully seamless, user experience. That cross-compatibility is really one of the big strengths of passkeys, regardless of your specific tech stack.
That's a great point. The standards like WebAuthn are designed exactly for that interoperability.
So wrapping this part up, what does this all really mean for you? It points towards a future where your online security isn't just about remembering or storing complex phrases. It's about relying on a fundamentally safer, unshaded secret, that private key. It's a big shift from shared passwords, which are inherently leaky, to unique, never-revealed passkeys, harnessing that clever digital sorcery we talked about at the start.
Yeah, this truly feels like a pivotal moment in online security. And while the technology behind passkeys is definitely complex, The ultimate goal is to make your login experience both incredibly secure and ultimately incredibly seamless, much more so than passwords. It's really about protecting you from the biggest threats online today: phishing, credential stuffing, database breaches, without adding friction to your daily digital life.
Okay, so as we transition into this passwordless future, one of the first practical questions you might have is, do my favorite websites and apps even support Passkeys yet? That's actually a fantastic place for you to start your own deep dive after listening to this. Check out the sites you use most often, see if they offer passkey registration. It's a good way to see this technology starting to roll out in the real world.